forefront of serving industry and trade. The Chamber, while encouraging excellence in different fields of human endeavor, also promotes debates on issues pertaining to civil society. The pandemic of coronavirus hit the globe recently, and the associated uncertainty is increasingly testing psychological resilience of the masses. When the global focus has mostly been on testing, finding a cure and preventing transmission, peoples are going through a myriad of psychological problems in adjusting to the current lifestyles and fear of the disease. The change society is witnessing across the globe has far wider ramification than were ever visualized. The way of thinking, working, social behavior and conduct are being transformed across the globe, and there is no exception. The changes are impacting not only India's socio-economic and political life, but also the psychological and mental well-being of the citizens. Globally, a large number of people have lost jobs and livelihood and are now suffering with a sense of deep uncertainty. Over and above the economic turmoil, people now have signs of increased psychological distress and suffering. The COVID-19 pandemic is now posing a tremendous challenge to people's mental health and well-being. The emerging crises have triggered a wide variety of psychological problems such as anxiety and depression. No one exactly knows how long the COVID-19 pandemic will last or what will be its spread and rate of spread. It is too early to realize the aftermath of the pandemic, as more efforts like an antiviral vaccine or drug are needed by experts in an attempt to effectively address mental health concerns on Indian citizens during the pandemic. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, through the National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience, suggested tips to manage mental health titled Minding Our Minds During the COVID-19. The question naturally comes how to cope up on the psychological level during the COVID times to ultimately get past these testing times and emerge healthy and happiness. We have with us today renowned neuropsychiatrist and psychologist who will critically explain how to safeguard our physical, mental and emotional health during this period. I now invite our past president Rajendraji Khandelwal to take the session forward. I'm sorry for the interruption. Suddenly the electricity got disconnected in my house. Thank you. Rajendraji, please. Rajendraji.
Thank you, President Madhavji. You are absolutely correct. In fact, we all of us at India, India's coronavirus crisis has pushed millions into post-isolation and unemployment. Health experts warn that anxiety, depression, and suicide are on the rise, and that mental health could be the country's next crisis. We are all aware, on March 24, India introduced one of the world's most severe lockdowns. The nationwide shutdowns disrupted the lives of more than 1.3 billion Indians, resulting in a mass unemployment and the high levels of distress among large sections of the population. Those who didn't experience the mental health obstacles prior to the pandemic have also found this problem coping. In fact, a recent survey by the Indian Psychiatry Society, IPS, found that the number of mental illness cases had increased by more than 20% since the lockdown, and that at least 1 in 5 Indians were affected. So before I take up, I am here today. We have two wonderful speakers, Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra, a consultant neuropsychiatrist, graduated from the Calcutta National Medical College. Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra immigrated to UK in 1996 and did his post-graduation there. He became member of Royal College of Psychiatry and joined as a consultant psychiatrist in Liverpool. He was also lecturer in the clinical psychology at Manchester University. He came back to Calcutta in 2006 and since then practicing as a consultant at CMRI, Bellevue Clinic and Woodlands. He is one of the most popular face in Kolkata. We do have with us Madam Paramita Mitra Bhomik, a consultant psychologist and learning and development coach, a very popular face in Kolkata, consultant psychologist and learning and development trainer. Mrs. Paramita Mitra Bhomik has been working in the area of clinical psychology, behavioral coaching and education for the last 20 years. I will introduce her formally later. Before that, may I now invite Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra to address us and please inform us in a layman's language that how we could all come out of it, this stress and panic of this lockdown. And Dr. Mitra, I would like to hear from you that in a layman's language that how we could take it up so that we will be all in less stress situation and to face it, as because we have just heard from the experts that it may continue for another 45 to 60 days more. That is why I heard. All floor yours, Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra. Please address us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajendra ji. It's very kind of you to give that wonderful introduction of myself. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this evening's meeting on mental health during COVID times. I thank Rajendra ji and Madhav ji for allowing me this very prestigious platform to talk on. I particularly thank Gaurang ji, who is my friend and a younger brother, who has liaised and had placed his faith on me that I will try and do a good job of this evening. I thank you all who are the luminaries of Calcutta for giving your very valued times, and I am really indebted to the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce for allowing me to talk on this very important issue of mental health in COVID times this evening. Without much ado, I think I will get on because I would, what we have decided is that I would talk about the mental health issue, the reasons, what are the problems and what are the illnesses per se. And I would be followed by a very renowned psychologist of the city, Mrs. Paramita Mitra Bhomik, who will kind of give you the tips and discuss about the ways and means of managing the situation. I do have 3 slides in between my presentation, which will come up as we go on as a share screen option. If at any point of time I am not audible, please let me know, because I am also at my home having problems with the internet connectivity with Alliance. So I am on another network. So if there is any problem, please highlight it to me so that I can rectify it immediately. So to start off with mental health in COVID times, these times are the most difficult times of this century. None of us, alive or dead, has come across something like this ever in their lifetimes. And even our parents, our grandparents have never seen something like this in their lifetimes too. So it's a very unique position, unique situation that we as human beings are placed with. Human beings, we are always good at dealing with things which we are aware of, which we are trained to deal with. But this has taken us off guards. We never knew that such a pandemic will ever come on our shores, the shores of our lifetime, during our life. It is important for us to know that this pandemic will immediately be followed by, there is no doubt at all, will immediately be followed by the pandemic or the tsunami of mental health problems. We will have to learn the art of coping. Why are we having this discussion today? ये discussion क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि हम लोग को ये art of coping समझने पड़ेगा. The more we learn about this unknown enemy, the better are the chances that we will be able to cope with it and overcome it and go to the next stage alive and kicking. So it is very important to be prepared. In order to be prepared, we have to be knowledgeable. In order to be knowledgeable, we have to have discourses like this so that we can transmit knowledge to people like yourselves, and you people can transmit it to the larger society. So that is the reason why we are over here today. It is important for us to know that the World Health Organization in 1950 did say that mental health issues will become the primary disability of the world by 2020. Little did they know that that is going to come true, and that is going to happen not through any other process, but the process of COVIDification of the world. None of us were aware that something like this could happen, but this has happened and we have to deal with it. So from 2020 onwards, what we can really see that mental health illness is going to be the largest disease burden of the world, and it will overtake ischemic heart disease and diabetes, or diabetes and gastroenteritis taken together. So the tsunami or the pandemic of mental health is coming. We have to be prepared. In order to do that, we will discuss what are the reasons why the brain behaves the way it is. It is important for us to know. देखिए, जब भी मन बोलते हैं ना, तो कई लोग सोचते हैं कि ये मन है कहाँ, ये ब्रेन है कहाँ. कभी गम बोलते हैं तो कोई इधर में दिखाते हैं, कोई इधर में दिखाते हैं, कोई सर पकड़ के दिखाते हैं. तो गम रिसाइड करते हैं कहाँ? Where does depression come from? ये brain is an organ of the human body. I will show you now what does the brain look like. This is the structure of the brain. It is housed in our head. ये बाहर जो brain bones है, इसको हम skull बोलते हैं. उनकी अंदर में ये जो चीज आप लोग देख रहे हैं, that is the brain. It is an organ of the human body. जैसे आंख हम लोग का ऑर्गन है, जैसे कान हम लोग का एक ऑर्गन है, जैसे हाथ एक ऑर्गन है, वैसा ही ये ब्रेन जो हम लोग का खोपड़ी के अंदर पे रहते हैं, उसको हम लोग ब्रेन करते हैं. तो ब्रेन और मन का फर्क क्या है, या व्हाट इज द एसोसिएशन बिटवीन अ ब्रेन एंड द माइंड? People do not, many of us actually do think that it is the heart that controls emotion. It is the heart that controls the mind. It is the heart that helps us think. But no, that is a misnomer. That is a myth. Heart has only one function, which is the function of the pump. ये सिर्फ आपका खून को, मेरे खून को पूरा बदन में डालते रहते हैं और रिसाइकल करते रहते हैं. So the entire thought process comes from the brain. So as I was saying, what is the connection between the word brain and the mind? A functioning brain, मतलब जब ब्रेन काम कर रहा है उसको हम माइंड बोलते हैं. जब वो माइंड खत्म, जब आदमी मर जाते हैं, उसका मतलब हम लोग स्कल फोड़ के ब्रेन निकालते हैं. So that is the brain. Brain is an organ, and the functioning brain is called the mind. So that is what is all about. ये ब्रेन बहुत अजीब चीज है. I will now show you another picture. देखिए, हम लोग जब कोई अपार्टमेंट खरीदने जाते हैं, या we want to go and build a house, we have this kind of a layout. We have a bedroom, we have a kitchen, we have a living room, we have a washroom, we have a public corridor. Similarly, the brain has different areas which performs different functions. देखिए किचन में तो हम लोग खाना पकाते हैं, कभी तो बेडरूम में जाकर के खाना नहीं पकाते हैं, या बेडरूम में सोते हैं, कभी किचन में जाकर के नहीं सो जाते हैं. सो इंडिविजुअल एरियाज ऑफ द ब्रेन perform different functions. The reason why I am saying this is to set out an idea कि ये डिप्रेशन क्या है, ये एंजाइटी क्या है, ये भयंकर सपने क्या है. So brain also has different functions in different areas. So when one of the areas they have a mismatch, the functionality of the brain actually goes for a toss, and that is what mental illness is all about. वैसा स्ट्रोक भी हो सकता है. There are other degenerative disorders of the brain, but mental illness is actually a functional illness, which means ये connectivity, मतलब सोचिए कि वो बेडरूम से निकाल के जो टॉयलेट पे जाना है उसका कनेक्शन अगर खत्म हो गया तो डिप्रेशन आ जाएगा. बेडरूम से लेकर के अगर हमको लिविंग रूम में जाना है उसका कनेक्शन अगर खत्म हो गया तो एंजाइटी आ जाएगा. ऐसे different areas perform different functions. So now we know what is brain and what is mind. The most important issue now is the psychology of uncertainty. ऐसे हम बोले थे कि what happens to human being now is that we were never aware that something like this could hit us. Had we been aware, we would have been prepared. Believe me, in years to come, if there is, God forbidden, another pandemic within our lifetime, I am fairly sure learning the lessons of today will help us for better management of tomorrow. But what is most important, why is the brain into problems? Why is the psychology of human beings getting perished? Why are we getting anxiety, fearful? Why are people committing suicides? Because of the single most important issue is that it is human beings do not like uncertainty, and the psychology of uncertainty is very important. इसमें हम सोच रहे थे कि what is an example that I can give. Just all of you, if you close your eyes and think that you have got on a bus in a new city and the bus does not have a number, does not have a does not say where it is going to, and the bus driver or the conductor does not speak your language, what would happen to all of you? We will be worried where the bus is going, whether it is going to my place or not. If it was going to my place, where am I going to get down? If it's not going to my place, how far do I have to walk? So all these things generate uncertainty, and ye generates ghabrahat, and a long time ghabrahat actually pushes an individual to become depressed. It is not as easy as I make it sound to be. There are complicated methods. So when the brain comes across a difficult scenario, it makes you understand two options. Either you can fight the situation or you can run away from the situation. For your survival, for survival of the human being, a brain always reacts in a very positive way. So for any survival instinct, so what is survival instinct of human beings? The brain overestimates the threat, मतलब जितना बड़ा झमेला है उसको और भी बड़ा करके देखते हैं ब्रेन, और जितना हम लोग का एबिलिटीज है उतना उसको छोटे कर देते हैं. So it overestimates the threat and it underestimates our ability to deal with that threat. So this mismatch actually helps human beings to stay safe. But I repeat over here again that human beings, the most fearful situation of the human being is the psychology of uncertainty. None of us can cope with uncertain times, and that is what we are through it now. It is very important that the uncertainty welcomes catastrophic thinking. We are noticing several suicides, be he or she a celebrity, be he or she a normal person like myself. So catastrophic thinking also, the brain also develops a way to think catastrophically. What is catastrophic thinking? मतलब ये चीज, you know, if there is a pin lying on the floor and you walk over it, you can get a pin prick. But the brain in uncertain times will make you think कि ये जो पिन गिरे हुए हैं ये बहुत गर्म है, ये अंदर पूरा घुस जाएगा, इससे HIV भी हो जाएगा, HIV तो होगा, उसका साथ इसका दवा नहीं मिलेगा और आप मर जाए. So that is a catastrophic thinking when the brain is not functioning at its best, when we are in uncertain times. And you must have noticed all these suicides which are taking place. I am a doctor and I'm sure Paramita ji, who is facing the same situation as well, we are inundated with patients and their family members who are witnessing suicides within their family. And you know, maybe India wide you are seeing a 20% rise, maybe even it is more, and in weeks and months to come we will see much more. As Khandelwal ji, Rajendra ji was saying rightly, the effects of this will be seen in three folds. One is in the shorter term, two is in the medium term, and three is in the longer term. In the shorter term, what is important for us to gather as much knowledge as possible so that we are able to deal with this much better later on. So what does this uncertainty do? This uncertainty manifests us in ourselves in two different ways. One is internally, मेरा brain की अंदर जो manifestation हो रहा है, or externally through my behavior. So what happens is that internally, all these manifestations, all these different uses of COVID, all these different people that you are getting to know who are dying, all the matter that you are unable to go out of your home and work and meet your friends and family, your normal daily structure is gone. So all these things set off internally an anxiety reaction, which in its worst variety is called panic. हम बहुत बोल चुके हैं कि एंजाइटी एंड डिप्रेशन, लेकिन अभी हमको बताना है कि ये है क्या. एंजाइटी का हिंदी वर्ड इज घबराहट और डिप्रेशन का हिंदी वर्ड इज उदासी. एंजाइटी का बंगाली वर्ड इज उद्वेग, डिप्रेशन का बंगाली वर्ड इज अवसाद. So depression and anxiety are two different things. So what happens in depression? Let's discuss the features, because in our families we might see somebody, but the good old saying is that if your mind doesn't know, your eyes won't see. So I will tell you what are the features of a person who is depressed. इनका क्या होता है? रात का नींद चला जाता है, भूख कम हो जाता है, मन उदास जैसा रहते हैं, बातों बातों में इनका रोना धोना आता है, ऐसा लगता है कि मर जाए तो अच्छा है, बदन में सुस्ती आ जाता है, the energy is gone, ध्यान मतलब concentration goes for a toss. अखबार पढ़ते थे जो आदमी या किताब पढ़ते थे जो आदमी, उनका वो concentration नहीं रहता है, तो एक पन्ना पढ़ने में भी उनको 2 घंटा लग जा रहा है. And you may lose weight, your sexual functions may go for a toss. So all these are features of a person who is depressed. Gum kisko bolte hai? फिर I am going to repeat it. The sleep is gone, the appetite is gone, the mood is low, there may be tearfulness, there may be suicidal thoughts, your energy will go down, your concentration will go down, your weight will go down, and you might lose interest in all the pleasures that you have, including your sexual function. So that is depression या gum या अवसाद. Now let's talk about anxiety. ये घबराहट का बीमारी है क्या? घबराहट भी कोई बीमारी होता है? देखिए, बात यह है कि हॉस्पिटल्स में इतना लोग रात में जाते हैं पैल्पिटेशन लेकर के, सांस रुक गया लेकर के, उसमें 30 to 40%, मे बी इवन मोर, ये हो रहा है हार्ट का वजह से नहीं, लंग का वजह से नहीं, ये घबराहट का वजह से. सो व्हाट आर द फीचर्स ऑफ घबराहट? डर इज द कोर फीचर. एक डरा हुआ आदमी लगता है. घबराहट में यू हैव फियर, यू हैव घबराहट में दिल का पैल्पिटेशन बढ़ जाता है, फास्टर हो जाता है, सांस लेने में दिक्कत हो जाता है, भयंकर भयंकर जैसा लगता है, दूसरों को देखने से भी एक भीति जैसा होता है. सो एंजाइटी या घबराहट हैज गॉट डिफरेंट फीचर्स, व्हिच मींस यू आर फियरफुल, यू आर हैविंग पैल्पिटेशंस, यू आर हैविंग ब्रेथलेसनेस. ऐसा कभी होता है कि हाथ पैर ऐसा ऐसा करके हिलना शुरू हो जाता है, हाथ पैर पे झनझनाहट शुरू हो जाता है, पेट में अजीब अजीब आवाज शुरू हो जाता है, पॉटी दौड़ने पड़ता है, पेशाब करने बार बार जाने पड़ता है. एक एग्जाम्पल है, बच्चे लोग जब एग्जाम देखने जाते हैं, उसका एग्जाम हॉल के घुसने का पहले जो होता है वो गम नहीं है, वो है घबराहट. क्या होने वाला है? Uncertainty, the psychology of uncertainty. How bad the question paper is going to be, how easy the question paper is going to be, how difficult is the guy who is going to, supervise going to be, how nice the guy is going to supervise me. So it is the psychology of uncertainty. देखिए, ये गम और घबराहट अलग अलग दरवाजे से घुसेंगे, अलग अलग का फेस लेके घुसेंगे, ये बात सही नहीं है. क्योंकि larger part of the cases what we get to see is that depression and anxiety go hand in hand. Depression may come first, followed by anxiety, or anxiety may come first, followed by depression. Hardly we ever get to see that depression and anxiety are happening in isolation. These are very, very difficult times. Now, what happens? As I said, catastrophic thinking. When depression becomes very bad, people start having hallucination. Hallucination मतलब क्या है? वहम. मतलब कान में उल्टा पुल्टा सुनाई दे रहा है. आप घर में बैठे हुए हैं, कोई भी नहीं है, आपको लग रहा है कि कान में अजीब अजीब चीज सुनाई दे रहा है. आप घर पे, that is called auditory hallucination. अभी visual hallucination क्या है? आप बैठे हुए हैं, घर में कोई नहीं है, आपको लग रहा है दो आदमी उधर में घूम फिर रहा है. So that is called visual hallucination. आपको लग रहा है कि हर कोई आपको नुकसान पहुंचाने का कोशिश कर रहा है, या आपका बारे में ही सोच रहे हैं और आपको खराब करने का सोच रहे हैं. That is called persecutory delusion. ये सब, when the depression gets really, really bad, untreated, then one starts experiencing psychotic symptoms, which are very, very dangerous. Now, all these things taken together, when they are not treated, then what happens is, the worst case scenario is that people try and commit suicide. So it is very important. It is very important that if you see somebody, whether he is working in your office, whether he is a family member, or whether he is, a friend, you see these symptoms, you seek medical help. I must say over here that mild to moderate depressive and anxiety symptoms can be treated by therapy alone. Paramita ji baad mein bolenge. There are various types of therapies which help mild to moderate depressive and anxiety symptoms very, very successfully. People have a lot of reservations in having medications, which I understand. I completely understand that people can have reservations taking medications, and hence therapeutic processes are available for mild to moderate disorders. When the disorders become beyond mild, beyond moderate, then it is very important to take medications and be well. I also have to ensure my fraternity over here, the members of the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce, very highly esteemed individuals, all of you, that today's age of psychiatric treatment is far beyond. It is wonderful. We do not need, first thing, जो community में है, देखिए दवा अगर शुरू किया तो उम्र भर लेने पड़ेगा? No, number one. Number two, अगर दवा लेंगे तो नींद में सो के रहेंगे? No, you can ask for a medication which will suit your. Nowadays, हम तो डॉक्टर हैं, लेकिन हम खुद को टेलर समझते हैं. क्यों पूछिए? क्योंकि आप जो मांगेंगे, आप अगर वजन बढ़ाना चाहते हैं तो हम बढ़ा देंगे. आप अगर पतली दुबला होते चाहते हैं तो वैसा ही दवा देंगे. आप नींद चाहते हो तो वैसा सोच के दवा देंगे. आप नींद नहीं चाहते हो तो वैसा सोच के दवा देंगे. आपका घर में कोई है जो दवा नहीं लेने चाहते हैं तो हम ऐसा दवा देंगे जो उसको मालूम भी नहीं पड़े. So I am actually, today's day and age, 21st century doctors are nothing but tailors. We can tailor-made treatment for you, so that, and फिर पूछते हैं साइड इफेक्ट्स, हम तो बोलते हैं साहब जान पहले तो इफेक्ट्स को बात कर लेते हैं फिर साइड इफेक्ट्स, पहले इफेक्ट्स तो थोड़ा देख लीजिए फिर साइड इफेक्ट्स. Yes, even for side effects we can take care, but today's day and age the medications are so good that they are virtually devoid of side effects. But yes, I can understand you can have a couple of side effects, and if you talk with your doctor, he will choose another medication which does not have those side effects. So please be reassured, if yourself, your family member, your friend is on medication, it may not be for lifetime, it will not put you to sleep forever and make you sleep throughout the day so that you cannot work. It will have minimal side effects or no side effects at all. And they are one of the best medications that humanity has ever seen up till now. So it is very important to keep a track of who's depressed, who's anxious, who is suicidal, and who is, who's contemplating a self-harm. इधर में थोड़ा सेल्फ हार्म का बात बोलते थे, बहुत बच्चे लोग हैं, it can happen in adults as well, जो आप देखेंगे कि they keep on cutting their wrist. For heaven's sake, it may be a cry for help, it may be also a deep underlying psychological issue. So let us, हम लोग भूल करके ही करते हैं, ये तो किया नहीं, वो तो हुआ नहीं, ये बार बार मत किया करो. Please pay attention, because जो सेल्फ हार्म करते हैं, मतलब काटते हैं या ओवरडोज लेते हैं, they have a 7 times higher risk of actually committing suicide over the next 1 to 2 years. So please be supportive, please be nice to them, please be empathetic to them, and please seek medical help or psychological help, whichever you feel comfortable with. So now we will have to understand that if these are the issues, what are the coping strategies? The coping strategies are manifold. They actually start, today they have started for all of us, that how do we cope with all these things? It is very important to be knowledgeable. As I said, if your mind doesn't know, your eyes will not see. So the most important thing is now we are actually disseminating knowledge between ourselves, between us as individuals. At the end of this session, and after Paramita ji's session is over, we will take questions. So we will disseminate, I will learn from you all, and if I am able to, I will give my knowledge, impart my knowledge, and that is the most important thing that which will help us cope. COVID is here to stay. That is very important. Whether it is 2 months or 3 months or 4 months or 5 years, I do not know when life will be normal. But I have started to understand and like the new coinage of the term new normal, because my understanding is that the world will never go back to where we have left off. There will be a new normal for this world. I don't know what the new normals will include, but there will be new ways of social interactions. There will be new ways of dealing with people. There will be new ways of taking medications and everything. We over here are at crossroads of a dichotomy between what is important. Is life important or livelihood important? If you realize, when we started off, for everybody, life was most important. But gradually with time, livelihood is becoming important too. So, but that is the natural occurrence. As we are becoming more and more knowledgeable about this enemy, as we are becoming more and more confident about our enemy, now we have to focus on our livelihoods. Yes, life is, of course, yes.
No, yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So as we go ahead, our confidence increases. We will ensure that we focus on our livelihood. It is important to know, but knowing too much does not help. That what happens to doctors. We know too much and we suffer from more depression, more anxiety, and you may not believe, doctors and farmers have the highest rate of committing suicide. So it is best not to know too much. देखिए सारा दिन वो टीवी का स्क्रीन में रह के वो COVID, it actually cooks up your brain. It is better to see a money channel and then a bit of comedy, and in the evening, please sit down and watch the news for half an hour to get your information, That's all that you need. There is no need of knowing too much.
Thank you, Dr. Mitra. In fact, you see, after hearing you from so carefully, we, especially in the chamber, we are all the business class people.
Yes.
And we have.
That's why I said the money channel.
That is what I understand. apart from the pandemic, COVID has just here for last 3-4 months. But we into the business, we feel this depressions are so panics from every now and then. And we'll have our own questions. I'm getting some questions on the chat box.
Sure.
Please,
Shall I just have 5 minutes?
Please.
Okay. Thank you. So as I said, knowing too much does not help. There is no need to. Let the doctors know, let the the carers know, so they will know it for you. That is what we are over there for. Follow the protocols. देखिए government जो protocol create कर रहा है, it is important to follow. That is for your good. Avoid being oppositional. मतलब समाज में देखिए बहुत आदमी है जो सोचेंगे वो हमको कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, वहाँ हम गवर्नमेंट ये बोले हैं तो हम उल्टा ही करेंगे. हम लोग का घर घर में ही है. So because this is not the time to challenge the government and do things which they do not want you to do. You reframe your thoughts. There is something called CBT. Paramita ji knows much better than me on these issues, so she will, I'm sure she will talk on these issues. This is a fantastic time to learn a new skill. देखिए हम मेरा एग्जांपल देंगे. हम थोड़ा कंप्यूटर से थोड़ा बहुत डरते थे, लेकिन ज्यादा नहीं. I was reasonably well trained, but I have never done an online clinic. The first day I was very anxious seeing my patients online through a platform, but now I can do it with the click of a finger. So I have learned a new skill. We have to adapt to this new situation with a smile. We are helpless, so once you know there is no way out of it, it is better to accept it with a smile and get on with it. And importantly, what is very, very important is that all the historically जितना ही pandemic हुआ है, जितना ही holocaust हुआ है, उसका बाद हम लोग देखेंगे कि human beings have come out to be winners. There has been quantum jump in science, there has been quantum jump in literature, there has been quantum jump in medicine, quantum jump in business after all pandemics. And I have firm belief that that is again going to happen. There will be improvement in areas of humility, lifestyle, funding, collaboration of different countries with regards to science and medical help. And we will be more careful about the world that we are in. We will take more care of our world, our fraternity, our human beings. So in spite of very difficult times, I have no doubt in my mind, in spite of depression, in spite of anxiety, in spite of suicide, in spite of the fact that mental health is worsening and will worsen for times to come, even beyond this pandemic, I have faith that we as human beings will do much better. We will come back with a with much more force, with much more dignity, and we will win. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mitra. In fact, I was a little scared after hearing you so carefully that how our brain works and how all this system works. But with the pandemic looming large on our head, I will simply say, in our commonly we say, tension nahi lene ka, tension dene ka. And since you are our psychiatrist around, a friend come philosopher, we can always approach to you. And before I invite,
of course. Thank you.
Before I invite Madam Paramita Mitra Bhaumik and how to cope up and how to understand this better, I would simply say that their experts advise that in coming next 6 to 12 months, that there will be huge economic crisis, and the scenario will change, including the education areas, including the business norms. As you rightly said, the new normals has to be understood and to cope up with. In Hindi, it is being said, "Dar ke aage jeet hai." If you could firm on it, and I can tell you, my business fraternity chamber members will agree that we businessmen are always suffering from this problems in our every day-to-day affairs. And with hearing of you, Dr. Mitra, it's a real treat. Now I may invite Madam Paromita Mitra Bhomik, a consultant, psychologist and learning and development coach, consultant psychologist and learning and development trainer. Mrs. Paromita Mitra Bhomik has been working in the area of clinical psychology, behavioral coaching, and education for the last 20 years. She is the founder director of Anubhav Positive Psychology Clinic, a renowned clinic providing psychological and guidance services in South Kolkata for last 15 years. She is the visiting consultant for the psychology at some of the city hospitals like Bellevue, Aurobindo Seva Kendra, and others. Our training programs are both for the corporate as well as for the educational sector and are geared up of the learning and development, upgradation and capacity building. And Madam Paromita, you will appreciate that after a wonderful delivery by Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra, we are anxious to know, yes, there is a problem. Yes, there is a fear and depression in our mind. How to cope up? How to come out of it? Please let us know some very solid tips. As in business say, "Arey problem to rahega yaar, solution batao kuch." So we would like to hear from you how to take it up. Madam Paromita Mitra Bhomik, thank you.
Good evening, friends. With my regards to all of you present and here, I would like to say that, most of the things about what caused the anxiety and depression during pandemic has already been said. I would like to start with the remedies, what we can do right now. Let us organize our thoughts a little bit. There are just three main factors here of what have been said. Number one, it is something which we do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. It is uncertainty. Number two, there is a fear of the disease. And with that fear, I think, when I look into the news, that I may not get a hospital bed. It is looming large. Anybody from the family member can get affected by COVID. I can get affected by COVID if I go to any work. So that is the second one. And the third is the economic crisis, which is also there, which is slowly seeping in. Many have already lost the jobs. Many of the small industries are closing down. Like, some journalists have lost their jobs. Some of my colleagues have lost the job. So altogether, there's a lot of stress. I would just like to tell you a little bit about the stress. Now, stress is a response when there is something unknown, unusual around us, which threatens our existence. Whenever we feel threatened by, or even if it is imagined, we are imagining the threat, there is fight or flight responses which the body gives out. Now, the body gives out this flight and flight. Fight means either you fight it, that is, you find a solution to your problem, or you run away from the problem. And with the COVID situation, we cannot do either. Neither we can run away from the problem, or we can, fight it. So in such a situation, stress is very normal. So with the fight and flight reactions, we also find some hormonal changes in the brain where adrenaline and cortisols and hormones are secreted, which makes us depressed. We were talking about every one person out of 5 people, that IPS study that we were talking about, is suffering from psychiatric illness right now. And most of us, none of us are normal at this stage. We also have our own problems. And we must say that, with children at home, with senior citizens, we are scared that they are going out, and what is going to happen, and also the economic condition. There are 3-4 points I want to tell you, which you can follow because the time is very limited. Number one is that you have to switch off this fight and flight mode, which the stress is in. Most of us are keeping this fight and flight mode on. Now, it is at an automatic reaction. There is just one thing you must remember. Most of the stress management programs fail because we are not given procedures according to the way we react to a stressful situation. Whenever there is a stress, our reaction are very individualistic. The way you're going to feel stressed when the company is running at a loss, the way I am going to react when I cannot see patients anymore, or when a humble cobbler is going to react when he cannot, do his work is completely different. Whatever stress you have can be categorized into 4 parts. Number 1, either you can have physiological reaction to stress. Your heartbeat increases, you are not having sleep at night, your appetite goes off. That is just one reaction to stress, but that is not all. So if your reaction, I wanted to share the screen, but I was asked not to because there's lack of time. So I can send you a handout where you can check your reaction and find out which category do you belong to. Which category of reactions you have most? Do you have physical reactions more like I do? So I am also a migraine patient. Or you have psychological reactions more, you are worrying, or you have behavioral reaction more, you shout, you don't talk to anybody, or you're into substance abuse, you like drinking, or you have emotional reaction more, that you're depressed. According to the reaction, counseling is done to restructure it. But since we do not know what your reactions are, I can only help you by giving you the questionnaire, which I can't show you right now. I'm giving you certain suggestions for all, which will actually appear helpful for all. But again, these are suggestions which are common suggestions. If you really want to go specific situations and specific suggestions, individualistic counseling, then you have to see a psychologist. Number 1, you have to be very, very careful about the morning programs that you have. What do you do after you get up first thing in the morning? Do you think, oh my God, again, so my business is running at a loss? Or do you think, okay, there is another nice day, I'll have to fight? Remember, we are not defeated by the adversity, but we are defeated by the loss of the will to fight the adversity, to strive. So what we are going to do, have a morning routine fixed, even if we have had a bad news yesterday night. Today, I'm going to fix a morning routine. Like, you have 3 morning routines. For me, the 3 M's work wonderfully well with all of us. What are the 3 M's? Number 1 is music. You start your day with music, or you can play, or you can sing, bhajans, etc. in the morning. That puts you into the positive mode. Second, after music, it is movement. Some kind of movement you keep in your agenda. Any kind of movement. It can be up and down the stairs. It can be just moving around in the terrace. It can be moving around in the room if you don't have a terrace. But some kind of body movement is very important. That is second M. And the third M is the meditation or the prayer. You see, I am not a very religious person. I'm not asking you to pray to Kali, Durga, or Shiva, or whatever, or that matter, Jesus Christ or Allah. What I'm trying to say is, when you pray to any higher power, or just when you close your eyes and be within yourself, what actually happens is you are actually sharing. You don't have to take the brunt of your stress on yourself. You feel that there is somebody else you are sharing it with, and it is even better if you pray for somebody else, because in that case it is the empathy which is coming up. And remember, when you are doing something for some other person, that is the easiest way to happiness. So you have to keep happiness in your life at this point of time. The easiest way is to make others happy. How do you make that others happy? You don't have to give a lot of money, because there has been research which show that money, fame, and name doesn't give us happiness. Then the happiest man would have been the richest man, and that is not so. Happiness comes from doing good to others. Happiness comes from your relationships. So here what you need to do is, you've got to address your relationships. How do you address? We're not conscious. We take our relationships for granted. We've got small children, younger children at home. We've got elderly people at home. Spend some time with them. Maybe you can have some indoor games, but you have to plan it. Otherwise the anxiety gets better of you. So always remember that we are already anxious. So let us plan our day. That this is a time maybe we can look through the old photographs. This is a time we can play some games with a child. You might just tell me, okay, you see, I'm going broke. How do you expect me to talk to my parents? But then, if you don't talk to your parents, things are not going to get any better. You're just worrying yourself. And if you keep worrying, and if you have more of physiological responses to stress, you will develop a psychophysiological disorder like a heart disease or maybe asthma. And if you have more of emotional and psychological problem, you will be developing a psychiatric illness. So relationship is the second one, and proactive and pro-social behavior is also very important, where you are actually dealing with others. Third front is the job front. Now here, what we are saying is that, you know, we are undergoing recession, and it is coming in a big way. It's going to come in a bigger way. But believe me, we have to break down to build again. We have to break down. We never thought we could run a store online. Many of us didn't even know that we could have this session online with nearly 194 people. Who thought so? So we are going to plan things out, and it is going to see things in shape. Maybe for the time being, you have to let go some of your workers. Maybe for the time being, you cannot invest. Maybe for the time being, but always set your goals. Goal setting, only 3% of the people in this world set their goals, and they are the one who can achieve it. Because how do you set the goals? Everybody can say, I have, ma'am, I'm not ready because I was asked not to. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is setting the goal means there has to be smart goals. It has to be specific, and there has to be a time limit to it. If I am going to have another store which needs to be opened, what is my timeline looking like? 3 months, 6 months, and I'm going to do whatever. And why do I write it down? Because when you write it down, there are neural changes in the brain which makes it possible. The experience comes from abstract to being real. So writing down your goal is extremely important, that you write the goals down. You will review the goal. If you may not, after 3 months, you might say, oh, see, I couldn't open this one. But you will move towards it when you only write it down.
Yes, Madam Paramita,
yes.
I fully appreciate you talk about the 3 M's.
Yes.
3 M's, that is music, the movement, and the meditation.
Meditation or prayers. So just those 3 things out of 3, even if you do 1.
In the business class, people will understand only 1 M, money. The problem is that our tension and the depression comes from the other problems. And madam, if you want to use your, you had your PPT, if you feel like you don't have much time, but you can always share if you wanted to.
No, sir, I decided not to use it today because I'm not prepared. I had discarded it.
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying is, yes, very good. Money is something which drives everything, but put a boundary around it. Put a boundary around it. There is a limit to which we can chase money. And money is the last thing you're going to think of when you're in deathbed. Who cares? And you know, 1 generation bills, and I'm not asking you not to chase money, because if you don't chase money, we won't survive.
But when the bill comes from the medical,
we are as rich as people have money in their pockets. You see, in Ubuntu is an African philosophy which says, I am because you are. Every person is made through other people. Yes, sir.
Paramita, then when the bill comes from the Bellevue and the Medica for the few lakhs, money comes first. Otherwise, they won't treat you. They won't talk to you at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But then there is a humane side of Bellevue also. You know, there are treatments given free of cost to people also. So there is a human side to everything. There is a corporate social responsibility for every company, because there is empathy. There is human empathy. There is so many, you can't deny. You must have helped so many people that you can't name. Why have you done it, sir? Why have you done it? You could have kept that for your son and daughter. You have the answer. You have that answer yourself. It is because we live through the happiness of others. Whatever we can, little bit we give. And we do not only give for this. So the last point, or second last point, not the last point, the second last point, I'd say just take 5 more minutes to wind up, is basically people, let us remember there are other diseases apart from mental diseases and COVID. We don't want to die of stroke thinking we are not going to go to the hospital because we will get an infection. There are so many people who are deteriorating, you know, in their, in heart diseases and diabetes, because they don't want to go for any testing, because they're scared. Even doctors, I'm sorry, I'm a part of their fraternity. They are like, oh my, I'm going to get a patient. But the thing, people are dying out of other diseases. Have you understood? I mean, simple stomach pain or simple fever we can have it. I mean, just because COVID is there doesn't mean that I will not have any other illnesses. So there's so many people. There are two things which have gone very high up. One is the sleep problem at night, and another thing is the pressure, hypertension. People are, getting more and more medicine for hypertension because of all this. Yes, somebody raised the hand. I'll come to you, sir. Just one more point. So when you are thinking of money, have your plan B ready. You are a business class, so I'm not asking you to have a resume done. But if you are working, then I'll ask you to have a resume done with the new skills, so that it will be new tomorrow. Things will be new. So if people are working under you, they need to have the skills required to drive your company. You are the brain of the company. I'm mostly talking about the brains of the company, I'm sure. But there are people working for you. You have to make them at par in as far as the skills are concerned, so that they can drive your company. And not only that, you have to make sure that they are able to handle the computer. They're able to know what comes after what. And we will come out of this, we shall overcome this situation. Last but not the least, if you feel that you need some kind of help, counseling does the same work as medication, because it also changes the neural connection as much. Because if it did not change the neural connections, it is not just talk therapy or storytelling, then we wouldn't be learning. Learning changes the brain through plasticity. Counseling does the same work. So we are taking medicines when it is extreme or it is intense. Otherwise, counseling helps. It is not advice giving. It is basically making you go through your experiences, understand your own experiences and feelings, and also trying to find out a solution with yourself. We are supposed to giving you choices out of which you take your choice. It makes you, because when you are undergoing a lot of negative emotion, all the positivity in your life, you do not focus. Just like my friend Dr. Mitra said, that negative emotions are always enlarged by the brain because of the existence factor. So even if something has gone wrong, somebody has said something negative today, I'm going to think about it for next 3 days. I am not going to take into account there are so many people who said good things or who's listened to me. That is because of the survival instinct comes back. So one person said something went wrong. There is one store which is not doing well, and I'm actually focusing on that. Please focus on things you can change. Please focus on things which you can, which are positive in your life. Write it down, and write it down. And early in the morning, read them. What are the positives in my life? Because we tend to forget when the negative emotions come in. Thank you very much. Yes, there are some questions.
Right, Paramita. Yes. Paramita.
Yes, sir.
In fact, you see the way you and Dr. Sharbashir Mitra have explained us. Echo is coming. So we have understood the problem of our brain.
Sir? Sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, now you can.
Yeah, okay. What I'm talking about is a businessman usually has to plan everything in detail about his challenges, from the manufacturing to the selling, the payments, income tax, GST, everything.
Sir?
Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, okay. In Hindi, it is being said, खुद से जीतने की जिद है, खुद से जीतने की जिद है, मुझे खुद को हराना है, मैं भीड़ नहीं हूं दुनिया की, मेरे अंदर भी एक जमाना है. Means the person is responsible for the entire operation of his business, his family, his neighborhood, his community around, and he has to perform smilingly. We understood from Dr. Sabyasachi Mitro that each one of us should focus on our performance, not to think about our problems. Paramita ji, the way you explained that we need to put ourselves in system with the 3 M's. Similarly, we must write down our problems so that it will be easier to plan the solutions.
Absolutely.
I am getting some questions now. So, Dr. Alka Jaiswal has a question. My question is to Dr. Paramita.
Yes, sir.
Meditation helps.
Yes, it does.
What is the physical mechanism that this happens?
Okay.
The meditation.
Okay. So basically what happens, mind is like a garden. So you have to keep it clean. Okay. So meditation is basically cleaning the mind. You see, when we are living, we're either living the past or the future. So at this moment, you're thinking, what are we going to do just after this? Maybe I'm going to have a cup of tea, or maybe I'm going to go for a walk. Or we are thinking, oh my God, yesterday this happened. So the magic of a stressful life is living the present moment, the Zen. Meditation helps you to live the present moment. Because if you are looking at a candle and thinking about the candle, when I see, and if you have a very disturbed mind, the best is the meditation with instruction. So days when I am very stressed, I use mindfulness-based meditation. I'm telling you, all of you can look through this. I also give it to my clients. It's called mindfulness-based meditation by the Honest Guys. I don't know if they're honest or dishonest, but it's called the Honest Guys. I can send it across to one of the senior members, or you can download it from YouTube. It actually tells you, it's an instruction. So you don't have to clear your mind and be in the present moment with a lot of effort. You just have to follow the instructions. So what ma'am is asking is, well, how does it help? It helps you to be in the present. So breath is in between the intake, सांस लेना और छोड़ना. उसके बीच में जो time है, वही life होता है.
Great.
So you have to prolong that time in between taking in the breath and breathing out. So breathing exercises are extremely important, and the mindfulness-based meditation. I can give you in chat if I'm allowed. Yes, it is called mindfulness-based meditation. I'm just writing it down so that you can download it, ma'am, and you can see the instructions are there. And I think ma'am is already doing it, and this is also for others. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful.
It is the present moment, living the present moment. That is what meditation does.
Okay. Now,
खंडेलवाल जी छाजेर जी क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रहे हैं वो खुद ही
our past president R.K. Chhajer has a question. Chhajer ji, please unmute yourself. R.K. Chhajer, Amit, please help us out. Please unmute Rajkumar Chhajer.
छाजेर जी आप हैं क्या?
I could see him.
Just a moment.
Amit.
Just a moment, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. This is to both the panelists. First of all, let me accept that this has been an enlightening experience hearing you, both of you. And on the lighter side, I am a businessman though, so is Raju Khandelwal. But then hearing from today about the downturn in the business doesn't sound good, because he is in the midst of making money left, right, and center in these pandemic. So this is on the lighter side. On the serious note, Dr. Mitra first, that you mentioned that we have partitions in the brain, but then we dwell on what is coming first, and we are unable to take care of that. Now, pandemic is a given situation as in present, say March or February maybe. But before that and beyond pandemic also, we'll have all kind of worries. And without medication, now coming to Paramita, that how to deal with this situation, because normally what doctors prescribe is the mind medicines which makes you drowsy and things like that. And if someone has, other than business, some problems related to family and things like that, how to deal with such situation? And can it be dealt without taking medicine?
Yes. So if there is a family problem, then family counseling is the best thing. I mean, it will not be solved without the family problem, without family counseling, because you will go on thinking about it. For example, if my son or daughter is heading for a divorce, I will not be able to concentrate on job. There is loss of money, then also I will not be but I have to go on. The end point is I have to go on. Sir, there is just one thing, but I think it is for Dr. Mitra to point out. Not all medicines make you drowsy, sir. There are SSRIs which are given, which does not make you drowsy.
Just a corollary to what you answered just now. Now, when within the family, if the problem isn't solved, isn't taken care of, so how soon a counselor like you should be consulted? I mean, at what stage?
Yes, sir. I have a lot of respect for business families for a lot of reasons, because I've been in close touch with a number of them. But there is one thing which has changed over the years. They are very, very secretive about their emotional lives, because they still feel that, you know, I cannot go and say I'm depressed. Kya hoga, mera ladka ka shaadi nahi hoga, ladki ka shaadi nahi hoga. But you are actually dying inside. So let me tell you, the registered psychologists cannot give out your information, because then the registration number goes off. We are RCI registered people, so registration number is taken away if you are going to the court. So you can catch hold of one person. Even talking will help. It will take the load off your chest. It will give, you can see another perspective there. How soon should you go and see a mental health professional is when whatever you have been doing, you're not able to do. The regular lifestyle, you're not able to get up from sleep. You're not able to do the work as well. You're having a lot of losses which you've never had before. So any sharp change in behavior pattern or any sharp change in the daily life should be monitored. At least you can go for a screening, if not a full treatment. Go and say, this is what I am having. Can you just check me? Sadly, this happens in other professions. I am having a palpitation. I went to the cardiologist the other day. The cardiologist said, you're just anxious. But then, you know, people wouldn't go with that to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and say, look, I'm having a palpitation. The cardiologist say, I'm anxious. Can you do something? He will sit on it till the anxiety, you know, becomes more and more.
No. But in that case, Paramita, I suppose with whatever I've heard from you, that it is also for the patient to come out and openly discuss the problem. Absolutely. But if the patient is not forthcoming, then what is the line of treatment? Possible line of treatment could be. Okay.
So, sir,
can a psychologist like you make them open up to discuss the problem?
See, sir, there are ways. Okay, there are online on call. Okay, so you don't have to. Most of the time, you don't want to see somebody because you don't want to see somebody face to face. So there are a number of helplines where you start. We usually start with the helplines. It is anonymous. You don't know whom you're talking to. You're calling a clinic and giving the line when people talk. There is another way of doing where people drop in at home and be friendly and then they talk. There is a third way of doing if the person is, very aggressive or, is under severe depression, then maybe medicines needs to be given before they say yes to therapy. So there are ways to do. Now you have so many portals, online portals where, you can discuss things. You don't even have to see me in Bellevue or Dr. Mitra in Bellevue to do this. They are not professional, but even listening helps. Somebody is listening to you. You think half your problem is solved. When you are heard, when you feel heard, half of your problem is gone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Sabyasachi would like to say anything about this?
No, I think, Paramita has spoken. I was kind of trying to, we were talking about stress. I did have it is important for us to understand that all stress is not bad. It is important because there is something which I would like to show everybody briefly, because that will, make people understand. देखिए, ये stress जो हम लोग बोलते रहते हैं, ये stress पूरा खराब चीज नहीं है.
No,
Somehow
for a businessman, it is for a business.
So what happens is that, stress, there are two types of stress.
You see, I should have a.
If you have it can be divided into two parts. One is useless, which is businessman, but a student can be a doctor, it can be psychologist, it can be any profession. A lot of bit of stress for your best performance. That is called eustress, and beyond that is called distress, where the performance actually goes down. So over here, the y-axis is the performance and the x-axis is the stress. So if you can see, it's an inverted U-shaped curve where in the midpoint, your performance is best and the left side is called eustress and the right side is called distress. So that is very important for all of us to know. The second thing which we were talking about, and Paramita actually rightly pointed out, that businessmen, for all of us, this is a very unique situation, and there is no definite answer as to who is going to survive, who is not going to survive, which business is going to remain and which business is not going to remain, who is going to become unwell and get better and who may not be as fortunate, which businesses will make money during COVID times and which businesses will make money post-COVID times or lose out. So it is very important that being businessmen, because I think they are very intelligent people, because I think every business is an entrepreneurship, every business is an innovation, every business is an invention. So if people like you are capable of innovating things, of inventing things, of dealing with things differently, of making 100 people work for you and generate wealth for the country, I have every belief that this time you will make your thought process in sync with the difficult times, reorganize your thought process, learn different skills, and you learn different ways of managing the business so that post-COVID, business world, the country has a much better output from the people from Calcutta Chamber of Commerce that people has not seen before. And I said towards the end of my presentation that every pandemic has been followed by quantum leaps in science, in business, in technology and everything. And that is exactly what is going to be seen in 5, 7, 10 years time. So I am very, very hopeful.
Absolutely. Okay, there is one question asked. Can I answer that?
Oh, sure.
I am asked by some Mr. PR or Miss PR. If someone feels unwell, she should go consulting. She should go for a psychiatrist or psychologist first. Now you can go to either, because we work together, and our area of work is they kind of complement each other, and both are required in most cases. But usually, if there are some features like hearing voices or severe aggressive features, psychiatrists, whereas for interactional problems or problems with relationships, etc., family problems, you need to see a counselor. And this is one easy way of differentiating. You need medication when the sleep, appetite, the physiological functionings are affected. So when you take down the history, we ask about the physiological functioning. At the moment they say that we have a problem, I send them to a psychiatrist for medication. And if they don't have a physiological functioning problem, then I take up for counseling. So there's a change in the physiological functioning like sleep, appetite, things like that, or any other comorbidity, then psychiatrist needs to see you first. Otherwise, you can start with a psychologist. If required, you will be referred.
Any more questions if anybody is having?
Initially, the person is not disclosing the problem. Family do not want to disclose. The problem aggravates. Yes. Mr. Agarwal is asking that initially the person is not disclosing the problem will aggravate. In that case, why not disclose, sir? Take a helpline help. They will give you whatever support is possible. They sometimes refer to, but you have to have faith that we are professionals too. We cannot give out your secrets. We cannot give out something which you have been telling us personally because we can be taken to court.
Yeah, I missed out on one little thing, which I think may be important over here, and I wanted to say, but I think if you've got 1 minute over here. So there has been loads of questions about how to improve immunity. See, it is very important. It's, you will see a lot of, fairness screams like, I will not name the company because I do not know. The owner is maybe present over here. So I'm not going to name, but it is like fairness screams, like improving in your immunity. There are lots of medications being touted as increasing your immunity, but to be honest, there is nothing like that which can actually increase your immunity. What can increase your immunity are a few things which needs to be followed. One is good food. Two is enough amount of rest. Three is good sleep. Do take very simple vitamins, the cheapest ones that is available over the counter, one every day for the time being. Not necessarily, देखिए विटामिन दीजिए ये बोलते रहते हैं लेकिन इसका शायद जरूरत नहीं है, because if you eat enough amount of green vegetables and good food, there is enough vitamins in it. But at this moment of difficult times and COVID times, we are recommending that you have any vitamin of your choice. थोड़ा exercise कीजिए. And very importantly, abandon your addictions. So smoking, gutka, alcohol, all these things, it is important that you do them in extreme moderation. In difficult times, they actually tend to reduce your immunity and cause other physical and mental illnesses. So please avoid addiction. So good food, good rest, good sleep, vitamins, exercises, and avoid addictions is this is the few things that you can do to increase your immunity totally. So I think that might be of help to fight the COVID situation for the time being.
That's wonderful, Dr. Mitra. Now we are running out of time.
Just one thing.
We are going to have this thing. Thanks formally.
Just one thing to add to what the list to Dr. Mitra said is 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight on your skin to address the depression, okay? Because there is light therapy to depression now. The sunlight makes us happier. So we also have seasonal affective disorder when places where the sunlight is not strong enough. So please be in the sun for 15 to 20 minutes. That will help you to keep off the depression.
Okay. Now, hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are running out of time. May I ask President Madhav Shureka if you want to add anything, or I can ask our Senior Vice President Rajiv Maheshwari.
I just wanted to request Madam that if she can, she was talking about her PowerPoint presentation or some questionnaire to start with. If she can share those questionnaires with the chamber authorities, perhaps we will take it to our members, and they can learn out of those whatever they can gather from that.
I can, sir. Give me any valid email ID. I will send it across.
I will send it to you.
They will get in touch with you.
Great.
And you will share it with that.
Great.
The another thing which I wanted to tell you is that this program is being recorded. The link will be shared by us. Who wants to download it, they can review it. They can get the link from the chamber's office. They can request me. They can request Khandelwalji. They can request our Vice President Rajiv Maheshwari. They can request our chamber secretariat. It will be posted on the chamber's website, so they can get the link and they can watch the recorded version of it. The another thing is that before that, I want to give the formal vote of thanks to our Vice President. I must thank Mr. Gaurang Jalan for giving me such a wonderful, informative doctors and the psychology stream, and such a wonderful subject, which was the most need of the hour. Everybody is talking about COVID, how it go, how we will take about. But this is the subject which will take us to the future. With these words, I would like to thank you personally to Gaurangji, Dr. Sabyasachi and Paramitaji for this wonderful session.
And now I would like to invite Vice President for the formal vote on thanks. But one small question, Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra.
Yes, please.
Not to be taken seriously.
No,
I
no.
have a problem with my wife in pandemic period in last 3-4 months. She has taken me granted. She doesn't listen to me, and she thinks that I'm a useless fellow. How to handle her?
See, if you consider that as a problem, I think it is a global issue of all men who are married. And
I give the answer. It's
oh, there you go. The president is giving the answer.
let him spend some money to get the answer. Let him spend some money. Come to the chamber. To get this answer. One more thing, Mr. Rakesh Bhatia is trying to talk to you. Rakesh ji, are you there? Mr. Rakesh Bhatia, are you there? अमित जी इनको लॉग इन करेंगे, मतलब इनको अनम्यूट करेंगे.
क्या नाम?
Rakesh, are you there? I think he has left. Never mind.
Okay.
Vice President Rajiv Maheshwari to offer formal vote of thanks.
Good evening. I think today's session has been very easy on the mind of all the listeners. I mean, I can say very confidently that both of you have broken the glass ceiling.
Thank you.
Everybody is
Somebody
scared.
told me, sorry sir, somebody told me you'll be compared to the previous speaker. So I hope we won.
It's
Thank
not
you
a debate.
very much.
See,
Thank you.
See,
That's a joke.
people are very scared to go to a doctor for obvious reasons, But I think after today's session, people will be feeling more comfortable going to visit a doctor for their issues, which is a very good thing. So I'll come to the formal vote of thanks now. Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra, consultant neuropsychiatrist. Ms. Paramita Mitra Bhaumik, consultant psychologist and learning and development coach. Colleagues at the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The rise of coronavirus across the globe has led to countries introducing methods to curb its physical ramifications. One of the most common modes adopted by the nations has been mandatory social distancing, lockdowns, closure of educational institutions, offices, public places, etc. In fact, the social lives of millions all over the globe has almost come to a standstill. The imposition of redefined social norms, although necessary to control the virus, invisibly affects the mental health of the masses. And the rise, subsistence, and the fall of a pandemic directly impact the mental health of those living through it. After the pandemic ends, there will be a high probability of exposure to residual stress, depression, financial pressures, and uncertainty of the future, and anxiety of re-engaging with the new definition of normal. These additional challenges will make it difficult for a person to return to the original pavilion, and the trauma caused due to the pandemic will not only adversely impact the mental health of the individual struggling with it, but also affect his or her immediate social circle. Our honorable speakers have explained steps to mitigate the mental health crisis in very easy words and very easy terms. These will obviously help us in eliminating those negative vibes while prioritizing our internal peace. Taking one step to ensure mental safety and emotional stability at an individual level shall contribute to the health of society at large. We are very thankful to both of you for discussing the problems and the possibilities which can arise out of the problem and the remedies. I convey my thanks to all the guests and the members of Calcutta Chamber of Commerce who have attended the session today. I am also thankful to our past president, Mr. Rajendra Khandelwal, for the incredible role he has played to make the discussion worthwhile and engaging. With these words, I now propose a hearty vote of thanks both to Dr. Sabyasachi Mitra and Ms. Paramita Mitra Bhaumik, and request all of you to carry it with acclamation. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you again in the future.
And my dear friends, if any of you need the contact details of Paramita or Dr. Mitra, is with me. I will send it to all our members. Thank you very much, Dr. Mitra.
Thank you.
I will take one more minute.
Yeah.
I would like to announce the program on Monday at 4 o'clock. We have a program on role of banks in making India self-reliant. And Managing Director, State Bank of India, Mr. Arijit Basu, is likely to address the chamber members, which will be moderated by Chartered Accountant, Mr. Vijay Murmuria. I would request the members present here to kindly join. One more minute I would like to take. One of our members, Mr. Rakesh Bhatia, he is unable to unmute himself, and he is trying desperately to talk to you for a minute. I would request you to kindly spare one moment. Amit, admin, kindly unmute Mr. Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Please, kindly keep it at the brief.
Yes, I am.
Time is running out of us. Kindly keep it at the briefest possible. Amit, kindly unmute him.
Hello.
Mr.
Sir.
Bhatia, kindly keep it at a, kindly be brief, sir.
Sir, this is what I wanted to tell you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, just 3 hours back, I've been declared negative. I have suffered COVID. I wanted to share my experience. I am so sorry to state that you people have been talking about COVID, but I have been trying to tell you the sad experience I've gone through. All the money, all the connection, all the power will fail in front of COVID, sir. Sir, the chamber, we have to do something about this. I tell you, COVID is a very sad thing. It is not that COVID kills you, it is the surrounding which kills you. I want to folded hands tell my chamber, sir, that we guys should arrange such a community where we can phone up people who suffer from COVID and give the family a strength. Ki COVID is nothing but it's like something like malaria or dengue. With time, it will heal up. Everyone disconnects you from the world in COVID, you know. And I know what I've been. Just 3 hours back, I have been, by the grace of God, been declared negative, sir. This is all I wanted to.
Rakesh ji, you give us the in writing, we'll forward to the right place. Don't worry. We'll forward the right place.
You know, just last thing, the best friends I had in my building or in my society were the building Darwan and the building caretaker. Every day saying, sir, kuch chahiye, hum aapko la ke denge.
We are all with you. Don't worry, sir. We are all with you. Don't worry.
Sir, this is what a COVID patient suffers. I wanted to express this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Dr. Saab. Thank you, madam. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you.